In our study on the Gospel of Matthew, we find ourselves in the series looking at the temptations of Jesus. In this portion, we are going to be looking at Matthew chapter 4 and verses 5 to 7. I am going to be reading from the Jerusalem Bible. The devil then took him to the holy city and made him stand on the parapet of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for scripture says he will put you in his angels' charge, and they will support you on their hands in case you hurt your foot against a stone. Jesus said to him, scripture also says, you must not put the Lord your God to a test. If you follow the sport of baseball on television or radio, you may at some point hear an announcer say, I've never seen this play before. There are a select number of happenings in the sport of baseball that are very rare. And one of the rarer ones is the triple play. The triple play is a situation where one action or one play, all 3 outs occur at once. Now, in order for this to happen, there cannot be any outs in the inning. And there has to be at least 2 base runners. Now, a triple play is extremely rare, but what is even rarer is the cases where a triple play has occurred because one player has created all 3 outs on one play. Now, in the midst of the unassisted triple play, you will find that basically the common denominator is it is a second baseman or shortstop who does it. But there are 2 cases in Major League Baseball where a triple play has happened, and it has happened because of what a first baseman has done. The last time an unassisted triple play occurred by a first baseman was in 1927. So the next time that happens, you can expect it to be on a video, and it'll be worth it to go see it happen on the video replay. You see, there is a truth in life that the spectacular and unusual will always garner attention. Jesus could have put himself in YouTube Hall of Fame. All he had to do was jump. It would have been a spectacular and a real showstopper. Jump from the top of the temple down into the depths of the ravine below, and all would be amazed. What would Jesus have gained from that? We often approach the Gospels and are amazed at the miracles Jesus did. The blind regained sight, the lame walked again, and the dead were raised to life. It was all great stuff. But realize that when Jesus died, there were still blind people in Palestine, there were still lame people, and there were still dead people. You see, Jesus did miracles, but Jesus knew the limits of miracles. And Jesus did not base who he was on the fickle nature of crowds. Yes, he could have had crowds by doing miracles, but that was not what he was about. If next season in Major League Baseball there's an unassisted triple play, it would be one of the highlights of the season. Now, if by some fluke, some sort of out of random sort of happening, there was one every second week, well, we know by the end of the season, it would become old hat. It would become, who cares? We've seen this done before. Jesus could have jumped, but he knew it would mean that next week he would have had to do something even more spectacular, and the week after, even more spectacular. Jesus did not come to offer up stunts. Now, that was not the primary motivation of him. What Jesus was about was not being a showman. He did not come to run a free ring circus, as the old expression had it. In Luke chapter 23 and verse 8, we have the story of Jesus as he's being tried and being prepared to be taken to the cross. Here he is appearing before Herod Antipas in Jerusalem. Herod Antipas has heard stories about Jesus. He's heard rumors about Jesus. He has heard the fact that Jesus can do miracles. So why is Herod excited to have Jesus in his presence? Because Jesus can do something neat, spectacular. He can entertain Herod and his court. Jesus would not give Herod what he wanted. Jesus, from the beginning to the end of his ministry, was not a showman. What Jesus' priority was to live in submission and humility before God. Jesus did miracles, but Jesus first and foremost lived in submission to the will and purpose of God. This will not make the highlight reels like an unassisted triple play, and especially a triple play by a first baseman. What the world wants is a show. What it needs is a church and its people who are living in submission to the will and purposes of God.